king. He is my one. Yes, he's my father. Yes, he's my son. I can talk to him, cause he understands everything I go through and everything I am. He's my support system. I can't live without him. The best thing since sliced bread is his kiss, his hugs, his lips, his touch. And I just want the whole world to know about my black brother. I love you, and I'll never try to hurt you. I want you to know that I'm here for you forever true. Cause you're my black brother, strong brother, and there is no one above you. I want you to know that I'm here for you forever.
KBLA Talk 1580. It's the perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. I've been meaning to take some time to talk about this particular story, and we are in the shock and awe phase coming out, the flood the zone phase coming out of Washington, so they make it hard to concentrate on any one thing, and we will do our best to keep you up to date. But I wanted to talk about Qaadir Malik Lewis and Nazir Rahim Lewis. They're twin brothers, or 19-year-olds. They're from a place called Lawrenceville, Georgia. And they were found dead at the top of a mountain in Georgia. This is March 8th, this month, with gunshot wounds. They were taking a flight from Atlanta to Boston. They were going to visit friends. And they say they boarded the flight at 7 a.m. The flight was supposed to leave at 7 a.m. This is where it gets confusing. We're being told that they boarded the flight, but yet they still had airline tickets in their wallets, which would indicate they never made it on the flight. That's what their family is saying. Their bodies were found by hikers near the summit of a mountain in Hiawassee, Georgia, at 11 o'clock in the morning. How they got there, we don't know. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation is saying their preliminary investigation found this death to be a murder-suicide. And this is what the medical examiner said after completing the autopsy. They say they're waiting for additional forensic tests. The family says that's bull. First of all, they didn't even know their way around that part of Georgia. Why would they go hike up a mountain that they've never even heard of and don't know where it is? They were very protective of each other, according to their uncle Rahim. They love each other. They're inseparable. Their uncle says they would never hurt each other. The place where they were found dead is 90 miles away from their home. And it's a place the family had never been to, never visited, talked about, heard of. So how did they get up there? They're not hikers. That's not a hobby or a thing for them. They don't do that. And they were looking forward to a visit to family in Boston. Why would they go on a sidebar? Let's go up a mountain these are beautiful young black teenagers. Beautiful, beautiful. The family's calling for a federal investigation. They do not believe the murder-suicide. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation says that the investigation is ongoing. How would these two young guys get guns? How would they travel with those guns into an airport if they did go into the airport? As young black men, I doubt it. The There's a GoFundMe, by the way, put up by their auntie, who says Qaadir and Nazir would never have taken their own lives. Now, we know that sometimes families can be in denial. We don't understand, how upset our children are, or how depressed, or what's going on with them. But this feels wrong. It feels wrong. We're about to go visit family in Boston and have a nice vacation, but instead we'll go to hike up a mountain that we've never heard of in a place we've never been and shoot each other. And now there's another twist. A volunteer firefighter in the area has been charged with obstruction. He's accused of taking pictures of these teenagers and then putting them up on social media. This guy's name is Scott Curlin. He's from that town, Hiawassee, Georgia. He's been charged with misdemeanor obstruction for taking these pictures. And I guess he posted them on socials. Posted pictures of them dead with their gunshot wounds. How did this guy even know where these young boys were? How did he have access to them to take that picture? And apparently this got around the school because the town's county school superintendent said that a crime scene photo was being passed around by students. And now the school district has their own investigation going, but they're only really just trying to shut down the photo from being passed around. I just want to talk about this, and I want us to be aware of it. Maybe you have heard about it on social media, but I want us to track this. I think it's really important, particularly in the era that we're in right now, that we do not normalize the killing and disappearance of any black children, black teenagers, black people in general. And these are, young people who are doing great in life. They're doing great in school. They have family that loves them. I mean, not that we shouldn't care about people who aren't doing great in life and great in school. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying it certainly seems less likely that they would have a reason to go hike up a mountain they've never been to when they're not hikers and shoot each other and shoot themselves. And I need us to talk about it. I need us for this to be an issue so that if you think about the Gen 6, or you think about Trayvon Martin, it's not CNN and MSNBC and NBC and ABC and CBS that made these stories. It's we the people talking about it. It's regular people. It's black media. It's independent journalists that talk about these things until the public starts calling the CNNs and going, hey, what about Qaadir and Nazir Lewis? What happened? We need more information. This is fishy. It's not okay. You don't get to Emmett Till these guys. We need more information. And that's what we have to do. I feel like in each and every case. And, even when we talk about police murders, right? You have to talk about it. We can't always believe the official story. When they say, murder, suicide, nothing to see here. Now, I'm not saying this was a police murder. There's no indication that there's law enforcement involvement. But it could be a modern day lynching. We don't know. And we need answers. And the family deserves answers. And when the family is this vehemently questioning the official story, I think we have to help them. We give them an assist. They don't have a big marketing budget and a publicist to get the word out. That's why we have to do it. We have to talk about it. We have to, we don't have to, but I feel like I have to, because I'm a mama. Qaadir and Nazir are the same age as my child. And this could be any one of our kids. You put your child on a plane to go see some relatives, and they stop in the wrong Georgia town or California town. You know what I'm saying? And we started off this morning with Jasmine Canick talking about Waukesha Wilson. Say her name. Today's her angelversary. She was unalived inside the LAPD Metropolitan Jail. And I understand there's going to be some, well, I know for sure there's going to be some results of the activism of Black Lives Matter grassroots, BLMLA, and the family. Sheila Hines, Lisa Hines, her mama. And I say that because it's a reminder that we have to do the work. We have to make the ruckus. We have to create the awareness. Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager Dove and Assemblymember Isaac Bryan, both unveiling laws, proposed laws that would require family notification if a person is unalived inside of prison or jail, in law enforcement custody, if they're moved or injured or killed in custody, that the family has to be notified. You would think that would be automatic, but it's not. And so this is, the result of the family of Waukesha Wilson working with the real Black Lives Matter, which is Black Lives Matter Grassroots, BLMLA, one of the chapters, to get change, working with lawmakers, protesting, raising awareness. And I don't know what happened to Qaadir and Nazir Lewis. I don't know. I'm only reading every single thing I can find about it, which ain't much. But see, that's why we speak out, because when we speak out, more will happen. Lawmakers will feel, in Georgia, perhaps they have to move their butt. We're not going to look for much help from the feds, but you never know. They should at least hear about it. Maybe, investigative journalism pops up. Maybe witnesses come forward. At least they won't die like, okay, another day, another lynching. All is well in America. If you want to talk about this or any of the other things going on in our country, our city, our world, your city, wherever that might be, 800-920-1580. That's the number. Or tap in on socials. We're at KBLA 1580 everywhere. I'm at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. And I always love to engage with you. My favorite is Instagram, but I'm everywhere. I'm trying to build up my blue sky. So let's talk about it. Whatever's on your mind, you're invited into the convo. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
The revolution will not be televised.
What's up? It is Killer Mike, also known as Michael Render, and I'm encouraging you to listen to more, not less, of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Testing.
We're live from Chick-fil-A.
This is Grant.
And this is Laura.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that sweet bun.
And that chicken filet was perfectly crispy and soft at the same time.
And that Smokehouse Barbecue sauce, it's a lot of fun. And the brown sugar bacon definitely had a little bit more pizzazz. Also, the Mac, one of the all-time greats. Man, I'm getting hungry.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and a Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
For a limited time at Verizon, you can get our best price ever. That's 4 lines on unlimited welcome for just $25 a line per month with autopay plus taxes and fees. You'll also get the new iPhone 16 Pro, 4 of them for the entire family when you trade in up to 4 phones from our top brands. That's a new phone for everyone, only on the network you can count on. Verizon. Visit a store today. 20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply for phone offer. See Verizon.com for details.
Stories are power. The Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project is an effort to collect, preserve, and amplify stories of Black land loss. It will form an invaluable resource for scholars, authors, historians, educators, storytellers, policymakers, and change agents who wrestle with issues of restitution, reparations, racial inequality in home ownership, and the racial wealth gap. Through documenting stories of Black land loss, the archive will help demonstrate the magnitude of what Black families have lost and will continue the national dialogue to encourage paths to restitution, rebuilding, and healing. Support the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project by visiting www.blacklandlost.org or by donating at www.blacklandlost.org/donate. Spread the word to inspire awareness, activism, leadership, and change. And join us in making a lasting impact. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Yes, it does, and you are welcome into it at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. By the way, we have all of our shows logged on YouTube. We have all of them wherever you get your podcasts. They're absolutely free. I encourage you to go back if you missed something and just type it in, type it up. It's great conversations, and we really appreciate you jumping in the chat on the YouTube. No matter where you're from, you are welcome in. So, yeah, apparently now, and this is not surprising, federal officials are investigating the California Department of Education because they have been enforcing a state law that lets teachers not tell parents if kids are presenting as a different gender identity at school. In other words, let's say that person identifies as a girl, but they were born biologically as a boy, and they're going to school using she, her, and, you know, maybe changing into girls' clothes or whatever, and the parents don't have to go run and snitch on the kid to the parents. But now, in an effort to force teachers to basically rat out transgender children, the feds are looking at possibly withholding billions of dollars from the state of California. It's confusing because at the same time they're dismantling the Department of Education. So will it even matter? Who knows? But the California Department of Education now under investigation. That was announced this morning by the Department of Education, which, as I said, is supposed to be being dismantled. But apparently, while they're being dismantled, they have time to investigate California, and we are talking like $2 to $3 billion out of our cash-strapped education system. Meanwhile, the Trump administration has announced they are going to lay off 10,000 employees from Health and Human Services because, you know, we don't need to track these infectious diseases or anything like that. That's HHS Secretary RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. It is more than 10% of their workforce, so that'll be a big change. More and more people calling for Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. What has he been Secretary of Defense for, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks? They're calling for him to step down after that Signal chat debacle. How dumb do you have to be, and how hard must Hillary Clinton be laughing? I'm not laughing because I just don't like the idea of random national security information being available to any terrorist, any tech-savvy teenager, any foreign government ally or enemy, because these dumb persons, I don't cuss on the radio, Dominique, do not feel like going into the situation room. Are you because they're lazy and they don't want to go in, or or use the doggone military grade whatever it is messaging system. The fact that I have Signal tells you it is not industrial grade encryption. So a federal judge in Maryland yesterday put a temporary pause, extended that pause in the Trump administration's plan to fire all probationary workers. That would go across at least 12 federal agencies. They extended it 5 more days to give them more time to figure out whether the pause would only be in certain parts of the country or whether it would be throughout the nation. This one staffer at the Department of Grifters for Elon, or Doge, apparently he goes by the name of Big Balls. Apparently before he became a Doge staffer, he provided tech support to a cybercrime group. It's called eGodly. They're a cybercrime group that hacks government emails and cyberstalks FBI agents. And he was working for them. His name is Edward Korestein. His mama didn't name him Big Balls. His name is Edward Korestein. And this goes to the vetting, the vetting for these positions. 10 minutes ago, this guy was cyber stalking FBI agents and hacking government websites, and now you've given him a pass key to all of our social security data. Laugh to keep from crying. It's interesting. I say that with a smirk. And the Department of Health and Human Services canceling $12 billion in federal grants to the states. This is money that came through under COVID. That's the excuse they're using. COVID is gone, except for that right now it's working on the resurgence of syphilis. Syphilis is making a comeback in America, a sexually transmitted disease that can cause damage to your brain, including irreparable mental health damage, and has very little symptoms. They're tracking bird flu. They're upgrading health systems so that should we have another COVID-type situation, we would be prepared, including putting records online instead of having scientists have to write them out with pencils. All that is going away. Scientists across the country will be laid off. It's about $11 billion that will go away from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, $1 billion from substance abuse and mental health services. Yeah, SAMHSA, that's called. So I'm keeping us abreast like I said I would. I don't want to be Miss Doom and Gloom, but I do want us to know what's going on. And by next year about this time, we'll be feeling these moves if they hold. 25% tariff on car imports starting this month, according to the president. If he actually starts next Wednesday, that will increase the cost of cars not made in this country by thousands of dollars. Also will increase the cost of used cars because as fewer people can afford new cars, they will go for used cars, meaning the competition for those pre-owned vehicles gets greater. The prices go up. He claims this is going to make car manufacturers start creating their products in the U.S. If that was to happen, which is a big if, it will take a long time. It will take years for those factories to come online. It's not going to happen overnight. Car parts are made all over the world. A lot of cars have components from Mexico, some from Canada, some from overseas. And they were set up under a free trade agreement. So, bottom line is, cars are going to cost more. Foreign cars especially, but domestic cars as well. If you were planning to get a pre-owned vehicle, I suggest you do it before April 2nd. No, the sooner the better. Let's go to Fred calling us from L.A. Good morning, Fred.
Hello, Dominique. Two things. Number one, a lot of people will ask you, how did Altadena get to be with its makeup of the people? Back in the early 60s, you could buy a house there for $25,000, and it was just so
well, you could buy a house a lot of places for $25,000 back then.
Yeah, but you could buy one in that nice of a neighborhood, but you had to think of the distance between South Los Angeles through downtown to Altadena. So, but I know people that did buy out there.
But it wasn't only that. It was one of the few places that didn't have strict housing covenants, which were included in the contracts to legally prevent black people from buying homes. Hold that thought, Fred. We'll continue after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Bishop T.D. Jakes recently revealed the nature of a health episode that had him hurried off stage amid sermon last November. He had a massive heart attack, nearly dying. He says he felt sleepy but had no typical heart attack symptoms. A federal judge allows the New York Times copyright lawsuit against OpenAI and Microsoft to proceed, dismissing some claims. The lawsuit alleges AI chatbots were trained on New York Times articles without permission. President Trump criticized Black Democrat Representative Jasmine Crockett for calling Governor Abbott Governor Hot Wheels, perceived as mocking his wheelchair use. Crockett denied this, saying it referred to Abbott's migrant policies. Trump called her a lowlife and questioned her intelligence. And 50 Cent is leasing a building in Shreveport, Louisiana for 30 years to create a sports and entertainment venue. It will host various events, including sports, concerts, and conventions. He'll handle all maintenance and operational costs. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Would you like your community to be recognized as a beautiful and clean place to live? Help the place you love become a designated Clean California community. Take the pledge today at cleanca.com. 0 litter is the goal.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was a good night on the road for both of LA's NBA teams. LeBron tipped in a missed shot by Luka Doncic at the buzzer to lift the Lakers to a 120-119 win at Indiana. The win snapped the Lakers' 3-game losing streak. Doncic led the Lakers with 34 points and 7 assists. The Lakers are at Chicago tonight. The Clippers rolled into Madison Square Garden in New York City and beat the Knicks 126-113. James Harden had 29 points and 6 assists. Kawhi Leonard dropped 27 points. The win moved the Clippers into a tie for 6th place with Golden State. The first 6 teams in the conference are assured of a playoff spot. The Clippers, 6-1 in their last 7 games, are at Brooklyn Friday night. Magic Johnson, a part owner of the Dodgers, has yet to confirm if he'll join the team for their White House visit on April 7th. President Trump invited the Dodgers to the White House to celebrate their World Series championship last season. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580 is pleased to announce that, like George and Weezy, earlier this year, we were named as semifinalists for the American Climate Leadership Awards 2025. Wait for it. You ready? KBLA Talk 1580 was recently selected as one of 10 finalists being considered for this prestigious award. Hundreds of organizations, institutions, and even cities were nominated in the selection process. But KBLA Talk 1580 has made it to the finals. You're invited to watch live on Wednesday, April 16th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, as Eco America announces the winner and the runner-up, awarding over $200,000 in prize money. To watch live, just go to ecoamerica.org to register and attend the online ceremony. That's ecoamerica.org. Don't miss the presentation of the American Climate Leadership Awards 2025, Wednesday, April 16th, and wish us luck. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready?
Drop it!
Mr. Tavis Smiley, preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. At Exquisite Family Mortuary, we know how overwhelming it can be planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one.
Taxes was taxing. Now taxes is relaxing when you file for free.
I can file for free? TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. I can file for free.
Now this is taxes. File for free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your maximum refund. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, and student loan interest. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Alrighty, Fred called me at 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580, and you are invited to do the same. Want to remind you once again that the deadline to file as an impacted family or individual from the Altadena fire, or Palisades for that matter, is Monday. So you have between now and Monday, you go to FEMA.gov to sign up. Even if you don't need help now, you want to get in the system in case you need help later. That is super important. And also wanted to urge folks, if you are out in the Long Beach area, to show up at City Hall today at 5 to support the family of Brandon Boyd as they seek answers for the police killing of their loved one. Fred called. He brought up Altadena. He was talking about how those black folks got homes out there. And he contended they were low cost, I guess. I was bringing up the fact that the housing covenants apparently were not as restrictive there, which is why other communities that may have been restricted from buying, there were housing covenants against black people and Latinos in this town as well, not as widespread as those against black buyers, but they certainly existed. So Fred, you were making a point, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to complete your thought.
Okay, yeah. Now on to that woman that you had on earlier this week that was talking about illegal immigration. She was talking about temporary protected status, TPS. What part of the word temporary does she not understand? And the last question is, why would she think that I should be able to go all over the world? And I have been there. I have a favorite spot, and go there and make a protest what the government is doing, and they not have a right to throw me out, send me back home.
Because we have a constitution that doesn't allow people to be punished for their political protest and speech. And so you're talking about Attorney Nana Gyamfi. And so we did talk about TPS. Actually, it isn't the revocation that the government recently did is not technically TPS. It's another program that was specifically for certain countries, Haiti, Venezuela, and I forget what the other one is. I think it's Nicaragua. Yeah, it's Nicaragua. Anyway. Yeah, so those folks had been granted a different kind of protected status because of the particular situations in those countries and what they were running from, fleeing. So the government revoked it. Now, sure, it's temporary, but it was given for a set period by the Biden administration, and then the Trump administration revoked. They reneged on a deal they made. So that just saying it's temporary might sound like a snappy comeback, but it's actually not. It's not normal for them to give a deal and then revoke a deal, just a few months later. That is unusual, Fred.
Well, how about the people that's protesting at the colleges? The people where I want to go, I know they throw me out.
Yeah, because you are going to an authoritarian country that doesn't have a democratic republic where we have a constitution that offers certain rights. The people that are being arrested and thrown out are not. I got to
respond to that.
Okay, you can respond, but you got to wait and let me finish my sentence because guess whose show it is, Fred?
It's your show.
Thank you. All right, so the point is these people were not here illegally. They're teachers, they're professors, they're master's degree students, they're PhD candidates. These are people who have visas. In some case, in some cases they have green cards. So it's not just like they're here illegally. And by the way, if you're here illegally, you still have the right to assemble. Doesn't mean, you won't get deported, but you still have the right to assemble.
Okay, Dominique, thanks for your time. Bye.
I thought you said you wanted to defend yourself. Okay, he gave up. Oof. One down. Fred calls me all the time, for those not familiar. He calls himself an independent, but he skews very conservative. And I don't know I know there's a lot of people with anti-immigrant sentiment and some folks who feel that if we get rid of the immigrants, we will somehow get more jobs for black people, better treatment for black people, more housing, more room in schools and hospitals. And I challenge that viewpoint. Black people haven't had full employment since we were enslaved. The value of our labor was instantly deflated when folks had to start paying for it. Right? And so, but even if we somehow, just for the sake of argument, went along with that assumption, if you sign off on the idea that we can just scoop people up because we don't like what they said or we don't like their political opinion, right? Because they protested in support of Palestine, that we can scoop them up, that ICE agents can pull up in front of their school, home, or job, put them in a van and drive them off, then we might as well rip up our Constitution and flush it down the toilet. If you don't have the right to speak out, you don't really have rights. And are you saying that only citizens have the right to free speech? And by the way, like I said, many of the people they're coming for now have green cards. They have student visas. So we're talking about an instant revoking of your visa or green card, which I've never heard of that before. Maybe it's happened before. I've never heard of it. Those are the kinds of moves that are done by authoritarian governments. I told you guys before, for some reason, a long time ago, I read this book called Prisoner Without a Name, Cell Without a Number. It's about Argentina when they were going through their terrible authoritarian government where thousands of people were scooped up off the street and put in prison with no due process. No one knew where they were. They were treated terribly. They were arrested because of their political viewpoints. It's a really scary book. I kind of don't really recommend you read it because you might feel depressed, especially given what's going on in our country right now. But I only cite it because it does such a great job of bringing to life what that kind of authoritarianism means for regular people, for activists, for change makers, for anybody who gets caught up in the net. You know, I'm not going to live based on fear. I can't do it. But, you know, please protest if they come scoop me up, okay? Don't let me just disappear. This person, Rumeysa Öztürk, she's from Turkey. She's a PhD student. She has a visa. She was arrested in Boston on Tuesday. And she was just outside of Boston, apparently. She has an F1 visa. She's a PhD student at the prestigious Tufts University. She was going to break her Ramadan fast. This is just a couple days ago. And she was detained by agents, Homeland Security agents to be exact. And there's video of it. It's real scary. These ICE agents DHS agents just roll up on her and detain her. No charges are filed as of right now. She is just being detained. The Department of Homeland Security says she was granted the privilege to be in this country on a visa. They found DHS and ICE investigations found she engaged in activities in support of Hamas, a foreign terrorist organization that relishes killing Americans. A visa is a privilege, not a right. But keep in mind, protesting against a war in Israel is characterized by these folks who currently run our government as supporting Hamas. There are Palestinians protesting in Gaza, day before yesterday, lots of them, against Hamas. Palestinians haven't been able to have an election for a long time. I can't remember. It's more than 5 years. Way more. It might be. I'll look it up. And yet, a student who goes and protests against the war and against the slaughter that Israel is conducting in Gaza is said to be supporting Hamas, criticizing Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, who's carrying out this bloody campaign that's killed over 50,000 people, most of the women and children. That's considered anti-Semitic. No, that's anti-Israeli policy. It's anti-Netanyahu. It's anti-war. But we're in full propaganda mode. And so I just do not think, Fred, that we can sign off on the snatching up of people off the streets. People who have green cards, people who have visas, even people who are undocumented, simply for protesting, simply for speaking their minds. They're coming for you next, Fred. You want to go to El Salvador and sit in the Bukele prison and be tortured? I don't think anybody should have to deal with that. Even criminals, to be honest with you. 800-920-1580, that's the number. I'm Dominique DiPrima. We're unapologetically progressive, unapologetically pro-peace, unapologetically human rights. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Need a ride? Ride in style. Choose K-Meets, luxury transportation that puts you first. K-Meets has you covered with our 6-seater Sprinter limo that's perfect for couples, proms, weddings, and events. Whether it's a night out, special event, or just because, our Elite Sprinter offers the perfect blend of luxury and intimacy without the crowd. Looking for SUV? K-Meets has that too. Elite SUV service available for your next ride. Book at kmeblack.com or call today 424-500-4751. Again, kmeblack.com 424-500-4751.
A new day is on the horizon.
Behind every great moment in history, there's a woman whose story went untold. This March on KBLA Talk 1580, we're bringing those hidden narratives to light. Hear extraordinary stories of women who transformed science, politics, arts, and community. Women you've never heard of, but should know. Celebrating Women's History Month on KBLA Talk 1580, where every story matters.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at WalkGoodLA. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. The Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth.
Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Yeah, we don't. And we won't. And that's a blessing. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. I'm laughing because I just love the YouTube chat. Y'all be off the hook, okay? If you want to get in there, go to KBLA 1580 on YouTube and just hop in. Well, you need to be a subscriber. We want you to subscribe anyway. Don't you want to support KBLA 1580? Get the app on your phone, subscribe, talk smack. We welcome you. Agree, disagree is all love. And yeah, so there we go. Anyway, we've got Jerry on the phone calling us from Beverly Hills. Good morning, Jerry.
Oh, good morning.
I grew up with a famous attorney, Roger John Diamond, who lived in the Pacific Palisades. His home got burned down.
Oh,
no.
no.
He hosted Clinton a couple of times in the past as a stage. Have you ever heard of him?
No, I have not heard of him.
He's trying to get help the environment.
Okay, I'm not familiar with him.
Have you ever heard of him?
No,
Heard of him?
No, I haven't. I have not heard of him.
Oh, you probably recognize him if you saw him in the paper.
Yeah, it's terrible how many people lost their homes, Jerry. I mean, in the Palisades and Eaton, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, this is something we're going to be dealing with for a long time. Roger Diamond, L.A. attorney. Wait, it says he died. Okay, well maybe that's not the same guy. But I'm sorry to hear that of your friend, and that's one of the reasons, Jerry, why I'm just reminding people about this FEMA deadline. You have till Monday to get in the system, and the. Okay, I don't know what that sound is, but we're gonna circle back to that. The seminar that the LA Sentinel is doing, I think, is something everyone can check out. As Danny Bakewell Jr. said, it's open to everyone, and they're going to have lawyers, they're going to have architects, they're going to have accountants, so that people can get the answers that they need for rebuilding, selling, making whatever decision they're going to make. And I feel like that is something we need to just stay on top of. We need to stay on top of each other. We need to stay on top of these issues and not let Altadena in particular, but also Palisades and the folks struggling to rebuild, not let it fall out of the news cycle. Let's go to Link calling us from LA. Good morning, Link.
Hey, good morning, Dominique. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm blessed. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Look, I want you and all of the delegation nationwide, be encouraged.
Yeah,
be encouraged. This is the gang that can't shoot straight. And remember, we were all worried about the fact that there would be no guardrails. Well, they just keep. This is the first 2 months, and they're making one mistake after another. And let me say this: when it comes to grabbing people off the street, I can watch by the way these agents move, so-called agents, that they are unprofessional. They're coming up staggered. One of them, watch them. Just if you know the movements, one of them's getting out, putting the mask on late. It looked like the female got out late and came over. There's another uniform officer coming from across the street waiting for traffic. What's going to happen is they're going to run into a real live wire, and they're either going to show the video or not show the video because of the embarrassment. They're picking on people that they can get. They're catching them coming out their homes and not paying attention, and they're going to run into the wrong person, and they're going to get embarrassed. They're going to get all the windshields knocked out of them. I'm going to let you know right now.
Because they don't know what they're doing and they're not following what would be. I know you know a lot about this. You're an expert in this area. That they're not being, they're not following protocol.
I think that they are young. I think that they have been put into these positions for either nepotism or so-called loyalty, and they are not seasoned agents. And the way that they move, it's too much that can happen. And it's too much that can happen. The person has too much time to react, and they just haven't ran into the right person. And but getting back to the phone call and all that happened with that, why can't they just tell the truth? I don't understand. It's like they're allergic to the truth.
Oh, you're talking about what phone call are you talking about?
I'm talking about the phone call on the Yemen attack.
Oh, the signal chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of just going, whoops, we shouldn't have been using Signal. They lie and say, no, we didn't discuss war plans. And then lo and behold, they're discussing war plans.
Yeah, but I just don't understand if you're going to lead people, women and men, that you should be able to tell the truth when you're wrong. I mean, tell the truth and admit when you're wrong. And I don't understand it.
And that's not a trademark of this administration. Tell the truth when you're wrong. They lie when they're right. They lie when they're wrong. Like Steve Harvey used to say, they lie when the truth will do.
Yeah, because all you have to do, everybody knows, you're taught, when you tell one lie, you're going to continue to tell them to keep up with that one lie. You know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Be encouraged. I wanted to say be encouraged because I hear a lot of gloom and doom, but we're covered in the blood and we have survived worse. And like I said, this is the gang that really doesn't know what direction to go in. And the person who's leading them all is just sitting there, not going anywhere, happy to stay out of jail and to receive all this free money. I said it, and I'm going to stick by it.
All this free money. Yeah, Link, I'm glad you take that position. I have a lot of friends that are saying that these guys are self-destructing. They're doing a lot of damage along the way, though. You know, people's families destroyed, people's jobs taken. But I think in the big picture, you're right. They are...
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
They are a whole mess. Link, really appreciate the phone call and appreciate your support of this show.
Oh, you're welcome, sweetheart.
We've got news, traffic, and sports, and we're going to have a great conversation ahead. Senator Sasha Perez is joining me on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Bishop T.D. Jakes recently revealed the nature of a health episode that had him hurried off stage mid-sermon last November. He had a massive heart attack, nearly dying. He says he felt sleepy but had no typical heart attack symptoms. A federal judge allows the New York Times copyright lawsuit against OpenAI and Microsoft to proceed.